Most people think Christmas is for the young. For children waiting on stairs, for couples wrapping gifts, for families loud with laughter. But Christmas was never meant for the beginning of life. It was meant for the middle. And especially for the later years, when the world grows quiet, when names disappear from your phone, when memories speak louder than people. This story is for you. In a small Midwestern town where winters arrive early and stay long, there lived a man named Thomas. He was 72. He had worked for 46 years, first at a steel plant, later as a supervisor. He paid his taxes. He raised 2 children. He showed up every day even when his back hurt and his heart was tired. And then one day, he retired. No ceremony. No standing ovation. Just a handshake, a sheet cake in the break room, and a quiet drive home. That was 12 years ago. Now it was Christmas Eve. Thomas sat alone in his recliner, the same one his wife Ellen used to tease him about. "You'll all wear a hole in that chair before you wear out your boots." Ellen had been gone 6 years. Cancer doesn't argue. It doesn't negotiate. It simply arrives and takes. Their children lived far away now, California and North Carolina. They called when they could. They meant well. But Christmas had slowly become a phone call, not a gathering. Thomas looked at the small artificial tree in the corner. He hadn't bothered decorating it much this year. Just lights. No ornaments. Ornaments carry memories, and memories can be heavy. Outside, snow fell quietly, covering everything evenly, the same way time does. It doesn't choose what to bury. Across town lived Linda, 68, divorced, living in the same house she once thought she'd grow old in with someone else. Her Christmas looked different, not lonely in the obvious way, but hollow. Her house was full of sound, television noise, news anchors, commercials. But none of it spoke to her. She had spent her life taking care of others, aging parents, children, a husband who slowly checked out emotionally long before the marriage ended. Now, she found herself staring at a calendar filled with crossed-off days and wondering how she had arrived here so quietly. She baked cookies that morning out of habit, not because anyone asked, not because anyone was coming. Habits are what remain when purpose feels distant. She placed them on a plate and stared at them. And then she cried, not loudly, not dramatically, but the kind of tears that come from realizing you are no longer needed the way you once were. This is the part of Christmas no one puts on greeting cards. In another house nearby lived Robert and Helen, married 45 years, sitting in the same room but living in separate emotional worlds. They spoke only when necessary. Illness had entered their marriage. Parkinson's, slow and relentless. It changed plans. It changed patience. It changed love into duty. They loved each other, but love looked tired now. Christmas lights blinked outside their window, mocking them with cheer they could no longer reach. And yet, Christmas came anyway. Not loudly, not dramatically, but faithfully. On Christmas morning, the town church opened early. Not for a big service. Just quiet music, coffee, candles. Thomas didn't plan on going. But something nudged him, not faith, not belief, just a sense that sitting alone one more morning would feel heavier than putting on his coat. Linda almost stayed home too. But the cookies sat there, untouched, and she wrapped them in foil without knowing why. Robert and Helen went because routine is sometimes the only thing holding life together. They arrived separately. They sat separately. But something subtle happened. No one asked questions. No one forced conversation. They simply existed together, breathing the same air, listening to the same old hymns played softly on a piano slightly out of tune. And in that shared quiet, something eased. After the service, Thomas poured coffee for a woman whose hand shook slightly. Linda offered cookies to a man who smiled like he hadn't smiled in months. Robert helped Helen with her coat, slower than he used to, gentler than he realized. They talked about nothing important, weather, road conditions, how fast the year had gone. But beneath every word was something deeper. I see you. You still matter. You are not invisible. This is what Christmas does when you're older. It doesn't shout, it whispers. Later that afternoon, Thomas returned home and did something he hadn't done in years. He pulled out the ornament box. One by one, he hung memories back on the tree. A chipped Santa, a wooden angel, a photo ornament from when the kids were small. It hurt, but it also warmed something frozen. Linda went home and called her daughter, not to complain, not to guilt, just to listen. Robert and Helen sat together that evening without the TV on. They didn't talk much. But they held hands, something illness hadn't taken yet. Christmas did not fix their lives. It didn't bring youth back. It didn't erase regret. It didn't solve loneliness. But it reminded them of something essential. You are still here. And as long as you are here, life still has something to give. Not the loud joys of youth, but the quiet grace of presence, and that is a deeper miracle. If you are listening to this and feel forgotten, if Christmas feels quieter than it used to, please know this. You are not being punished by life. You are being invited into a different kind of meaning, one that doesn't require applause. If this story spoke to you, share it with someone who may be spending Christmas quietly this year. And if no one has told you this yet, Merry Christmas. Your life still matters.